7th. And he broke this. And if you go to the far right, there's multiple worksheets or multiple tabs at the bottom. There's a worksheet account balance at November 7th, 2024. And there's an object code November 7th, 2024. The account balance gives just a balance updates of how much we have in our respective accounts. And the object code is a breakdown of it's almost like a statement of activities of where the money was spent, and so forth. So, but I'm just going to go through the account balance. Account 2000, which is Rattler Booster fundraising events, has a current balance as of November 7th of $4,113.47. Account 2001, which is an annual homecoming campaign, has a balance of $49.66. There were expenditures of $8,100 since the last meeting. Account 2002 is the Life Membership Endowment, has $187,258.20. The earnings account off that life endowment current balance is $4,993.47. 2010 account, which is our membership operations account, has a balance of $8,340.14. The account 2156, Rattler Booster Stadium Facilities Enhancement, has a balance of $6,879.47. And then the accumulations account, but basically the investment account, which is ND Foundation account 8357, has a balance of $28,675.92. A grand total as far as balances as of November 7th is $240,310.33. That's our account balance. But board of directors, if you open up the Google Drive, again, scroll to the far right, there's an account balance sheet and then an object code sheet. And the object code sheet will give you a breakdown of where the spending was for each of those particular accounts. With that, Mr. President, that's the treasury report.
Okay. I don't have any answers because Bill is not here, but should there be any questions? Are there any questions for the report that was just read? At this time, I would offer for I don't want to. Well, okay. I'll offer for acceptance of the report.
So move, Glee.
Okay, so move.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who seconded the motion?
Reggie Mitchell.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Haddon, I'll let you know Colonel Joe just joined on the line.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. At this time, we'll carry the motion. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes likewise. Okay. Motion carried. At this time, we will have our illustrious athletic director updates. And Ms. Angela, please, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, and to other members of the board, good evening. I'm glad to be here with you tonight to share a few updates and to also say thank you. And so thank you for your support. A couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to have lunch with President Cobb and Vice President Colonel Joe. And we were able to sit and chat a bit. We give also weekly updates at the 220 Quarterback Club, where many of you attend as well. I'm happy to share that we have hired some coaches and some staff since I've come on board since your last board meeting. And then we also hired softball coach Brittany Beal, who comes to us from Eustis High School. She will actually go to Eustis here in a couple of weeks for her state championship ring ceremony. There at Eustis, she has several championships over the past 5 years. She is a 3-time All-American from Auburn University, where she played softball there. So, and she also, her family owns and has operated for many years a very successful travel softball organization with several level of teams. And so from a recruiting standpoint, she's now on the other side, but there are 2 young ladies on our team that actually she sent to FAMU, and she knows how to win. And so we're excited to have Coach Bill. Also, we've hired her pitching coach, Coach Jessica Hurtado, who she's a good one. She's a winner, and as we well know for many to FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. Jessica played on some of those teams at Bethune-Cookman, but has since gone on to do some great things, and we are excited to have Jessica on the team as the pitching coach. Additionally, we brought on board Coach Jeremy Williams, who has several CIAA championships, ground running, a champion within his own right, also a certified Brunswick mechanic. And so he knows and has renovated several bowling facilities, not alleys, as you know, so bowling centers, if you will. And it's really someone that brings several values to our bowling program. And so we're excited to have Coach Williams with us. And then our most recent addition to our coaching teams is Coach Erica Cromartie, who is one of the assistant women's basketball coaches. Erica, we know her to be a champion. She's a FAMU High graduate, where she won championships there. And then she has been there as a coach, where she has several championships under her belt. And so we are excited. She coached her first game, was on the squad and on the sideline, courtside last night at Florida State, where our women went over to be at Florida State. Our men were in Maryland last night, playing the University of Maryland, and they have started their season and have been on the road. And so with that, our teams are going to be throughout Florida. Before I go to this particular weekend, we'll just share with you that on next Monday, our women's basketball team will be in Jacksonville. So for those of you in Jacksonville or near Jacksonville, they will take on Jacksonville University on Monday at 6:30 p.m. And then our men will take on the University of Florida in Gainesville at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. So our women will be in Jacksonville on Monday. Our men will be in Gainesville on Tuesday. I don't know if you just leave Tallahassee Monday and go to Jacksonville to see the women, go to Gainesville to see the men, and head on down to Orlando. But I definitely wanted to share that information. About this weekend, our volleyball team, as they are heading into SWAC championship season, which will be at Grambling this year, the weekend of Florida Classic, as it always is. We have our last home matches that are starting with Jackson State on this coming Friday. So the volleyball team will take on Jackson State in the Al Lawson Center at 6 p.m. And then on Sunday, we will round out a Mississippi Valley experience with football, of course, on Saturday. I'll come back to that. But volleyball takes on Mississippi Valley on Sunday at 1 p.m. So for volleyball, we have Jackson State on first. We got the state of Mississippi to Tallahassee, Jackson State on Friday, at 6 p.m. in Mississippi Valley on Monday. All of this information can be found at famuathletics.com, but also if you download the app, if you go into the app store, there is a FAMU Athletics app that's amazing. That's where I just pulled all of that information from. You have schedules, you have the ability to track with stats, you can get alerts and notifications on the app of when the competitions are starting and follow along with stats, those that are being broadcast. You can even click on the link there and you can download it in your app store, the FAMU Athletics app. And so definitely wanted to share that. This weekend's football game is a community day, the first of two. Our game on the 29th will also be a community day, and that game is against Alabama A&M. That is game 2. So that is game 2. All of your assets that say game 2, those are the assets that you're going to do. Game 2 is on November 29th at 4:00 p.m. That is the Friday after Thanksgiving. And so game 2 is November 9th against Alabama A&M at 4 p.m. Back to this coming weekend, Mississippi Valley tickets. We have general admission tickets for $15. We know that that game is still close to homecoming. People are recovering and from their budgets, but it's also the week before Florida Classic. So we are reaching out to several of our community-based organizations, and $15 isn't a group ticket, it's a general admission ticket. Now, our reserve tickets are still $50. And so those reserve tickets are still there, but general admission tickets are $15 and available 100, 200, however many you want to get for that game. Also, an update on the longest streak. So it is South Dakota. They are currently now at 29 games for their winning streak. We still have 2 more games to go, but we're sitting at 23. So we won't catch them this season, but because they're already at 29. And so 29 currently is the number to beat. We're at 23. We hope to close out the year. Of course, the plan is to close out at 25, I apologize. And that's those are those standings. Happy to report a successful homecoming from the standpoint of we had probably more people here on the footprint than we've had in quite some time, definitely since 2020. Hats off to everyone that played a part in organizing homecoming this year. The parade had over 200 units in it. The route was different, but it was a straight shot down Althea Gibson Way. The number of vendors that we had on site, the number of tailgating activations, just the number of people in the parking lot, sold out event as it relates to the football game. We activated the Lawson Center as a watch party. We had just over 500 people that we had in the Lawson Center with about 250 participants from the bands that participated in the homecoming parade. We were able to host them in the Lawson Center. We sold close to 200 tickets for the event, right at about 190 or so at $30 per ticket. And then we allowed students to be able to access, because that allotment was exhausted for the game. So we allowed students to be able to access the Lawson Center as well. We heard great comments. The concession stands were open. We had a DJ in there. We did have, as everyone experienced, some intermittent pauses or delays with the signal, because we did pull the signal directly from the stadium. However, it was, it was great because they were in the air conditioning. They had access to restrooms. They had access to concessions. And so from the people that we heard, they'd like to see us do it again. And we will look at activating that, but we'll probably pull the stream from ESPN Plus instead of from the stadium, so that it can be a more active feed and without very much interruption. But again, everyone pulled together. to make that a success. Our prayers definitely go out to our sister institutions that did experience tragedy. We were blessed here at Florida A&M to have as many people that we had on the footprint with no tragedy to happen on our campus. And so we are definitely happy to report that. In addition to the meetings with the boosters, as I kind of bring this particular report to a close, we've met with several heads of areas in finance and administration. So plant operations and maintenance, construction and facilities, our university audit, the foundation chair, Chair LeBou, as well as Director Shakisha Kidd, who chaired a strategic fundraising committee on behalf of the FAMU Foundation. So we've met with them. Of course, we've met with the Curtis Johnson, with the NAA, and others, right? We, again, as we mentioned, give the updates. And so we are still having the one-on-ones and sitting with our constituent groups, head of affinity groups. I spoke to the Rattler F Club during their Champions Weekend. And of course, we were there for the Hall of Fame. I've also had a chance to speak with the chair of the Board of Trustees Athletics Fundraising and Sustainability Committee, which is Chair Klatt. And we, in terms of that particular committee, I've also met with, of course, Chair Harper, as well as Vice Chair Gibbons, who heads up the DSO and Athletics Committee. We are in preparation to present at the Board of Trustees meeting in December, and I also will be in attendance for the FAMU Foundation meeting, which will take place at the Florida Classic. And that concludes my update for this particular board meeting.
But thank
I
you.
have one question.
Wait, hold on a second, and I just want to thank AD Suggs for the tremendous update. And at this time, I would ask if you have any questions. AD Suggs, I don't know how long you got, but we won't keep you too much longer.
No,
But,
we're good.
Hattie, I think you had the
Yeah,
floor
this
first.
is one in regard to the minutes. The chair of the athletic committee, is that Otis Clyde or Kevin Lawson?
It's Otis Clatt.
Otis Clyde.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, if there's any other
Well,
questions.
I have a correction.
Okay.
And so the chair of the special committee on athletic sustainability is Trustee Otis Clatt.
Clyde.
All
the
right,
chair-
repeat that now for me one more time.
He's the chair of the Board of Trustees Special Committee on Athletics Sustainability.
Got it. Okay.
And then the chair of the Board of Trustees Direct Support Organizations and Athletics Standing Committee is Vice Chair Devron Gibbons.
Mr. President,
Okay.
we
I
have a
have a
couple hands
question.
raised. We have a couple hands raised, Gary Watson and Zachary Ansley. Mr. Watson.
Evening. AD Suggs, thank you for a very thorough report. It was very thorough, and we appreciate that you've given such a thorough report of updates. But I just have one question in terms of the field house and is there any plans or are there any plans for remodeling, reconstruction, tearing it down, or making it a better facility? Because when you look at other schools that are actually in the SWAC, our field house is probably at the bottom. And I've visited quite a few of them. So are there any plans for those things in the near future?
Certainly. Thank you for the question. We are actually looking at performing a facilities audit for all of our facilities to see where we are with them, what the needs are, just what the current state of them would be. And so then from there, we would then have a look at doing a facilities master plan, again, for all of our facilities in conjunction with the university facilities and construction team there, as of course, taking the university's master plan into consideration. What we want to do is just make sure that we understand where we are so that we can then establish priorities as we look at what we tackle first, right? If there's something that is not up to code, if there's something that we need to take a look at from a resource perspective, we want to know how to prioritize the resources that we have. Of course, the field house is there. We're probably a couple of storms away from, really needing to take a look at some immediate solutions, but we don't want to be where we were with the stadium, in that facing not being able to get a certificate of occupancy and then having to have our backs against the wall. So that's where that facilities audit is going to be very important.
Thank you so much. I think that we have another hand raised. We did have Flora Wolfart, but she lowered her hand. Zachary.
I did lower.
Go
Okay.
ahead, then, Flora.
Go ahead, Flora.
Pertaining to Saturday's game, what time do the gates open, and what time does the game start Saturday?
The gates
I've
open.
heard that it's 1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am. Gates open at 11 a.m. The game starts at 1 p.m.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
And the color is black. Is that? Am I
Color
correct?
is black. Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right, Mr. Ansley.
I have a question. I just wanted to commend you, Mrs. Suggs, for the innovative idea of having the Al Lawson Center open at homecoming. I think that was just a grand move on your part. And all I can say is thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, there was a question that was more from the public. Life member Mike Reed had something in the chat. Do you want to address that? His question says if our VP AD Angela Suggs can bring us up to speed about practice field parking passes and how folks with them need to park in their designated areas.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Reed. Yes, we have identified the person. That will not be an issue any longer. We've communicated with them, and they will be on the practice field or they will be towed. So we've communicated to them verbally as well as in writing.
There are no other questions in the queue.
Okay. Again, AD Suggs, thank you for coming out and sharing your updates with us. We're so greatly, we're glad that you're here. Let me say that as well.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and I just want you to know that as Rattler Boosters, we look forward to working with you, and we're looking for a great time here at Florida A&M University in athletics.
Absolutely.
Okay, and with that update, I would just like to say that I want to commend the Rattler Booster Board for, first of all, for the Hall of Fame. For the first time, we had a good percentage of representation for the Hall of Fame. We had a table of 10 people, and that's great. Also, for the FAMU, for the Florida Classic Luncheon, I want to commend you all because we have 7 tables.
Oh, goodness. Great.
So I want to commend you all for going for doing that. And also, we have filled up, Tommy and I, we have filled up 2 full buses that will be traveling from the host hotel to the Camping World Stadium. So I want to commend you all for doing that as well. Okay.
That's why I can't get a table. I'm trying to get a table. I can't get. That's probably why I can't get a table. And I live here.
I guess so, because we did have some NAA members call us today, say they couldn't get one.
Okay.
Okay. But I do want to thank you all for that. I think I remember going, and we only had maybe 1 or 2 tables, but 7 tables. That's great. I really appreciate you all for doing that for us. Okay, those are the only updates that I have. At this time, we will go into the committee reports. we will start out with Ms. Hadley, Melody.
Thanks all. Let me give you some numbers. Director. So for life members, we are at 272 members. For subscribing life, we're at 33. For Venom, we're at 12. For regular, we're at 84. And for student, we're at 4. And the newest being my niece that I donated $50 for her. So we are moving on up with different categories.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Okay, we would take that as, is that for information or that's for the body? You gave out some numbers, so that's for the body, is that correct?
For both information body to
Right in.
anybody who.
Okay, so at this time, we would ask for approval of the report.
So move, approve the membership report.
Nita Williams, second.
Okay, it's been properly moved in second that the report be presented, that was presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes? Hearing none. Let's move on to website. Now, is Leonard Daniels on?
No.
Okay, are you gonna give that report?
Yes, I am. Good
Daniel?
evening,
Okay,
everyone.
great. Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, the website right now, they're working on an update to the membership portal. And what Leonard hopes to achieve with that is the ability for members to connect with automatic renewal of your membership via that portal. Also, it's a unique way to, when we attract new members, they can engage on that site. You can purchase merchandise from the site. Also, some of the other benefits from the upgrade will be more creative and effective way to so that members can see their benefits. He says that we will have some testing parameters in place, hopefully in December, so the board will be able to test the site. In order to do that, though, we need to create a gateway to process payments on that site. And so the gateway, they're thinking of using PayPal or either, I think we have something right now, but it's not sufficient. So they thought about using PayPal. And he will work with Mr. Woods to get that set up. And that will allow members to be able to go on the site and test it. So this is where you will be able to, when it's time for us to renew our membership in June, similar to what happens with the NAA site, the site will send you an update that your membership is due in 30 days. And it will send you something else in 2 weeks if you haven't paid. And then it will send you something that says your membership is expired. And it's just clicking and paying, renewing that membership. We're gonna have to work real closely with Melody. She would have to have access to the truest information and some of the information so she can see the renewals and be able to process those benefits that come with the membership. Also, to increase membership, we thought about, he's also working on some flyers. I saw Zach at one of the games was passing out I think you were passing out booster applications. And so we thought of doing a QR code instead on the flyer where we could actually pass these out. We have to get permission if we're gonna hand out flyers. Also, maybe putting something up on the Jumbotron where you can take your phones out in the stadium and scan the QR codes, and it will take you to our membership site and you can join. We have to find a way to increase our membership. And if he's working on increasing or expanding the site, the membership site, you need more people in the organization to justify those increases. I'm not sure he's working, I think he's doing it right now on I'm not sure how they're working, if it's the same company. I think it's the same company that we have now, Go-To. I'm not sure what they're called. But they're gonna be the ones that'll be actually adding on. And it's something similar to what the alumni, what I was told. Any questions? Oh, and we do have 2 flyers that we wanted you all to look at. William, can you, so Melody says we have a QR code ready, set up. True, so we need to get the QR code into people's hands so they can scan it and start becoming members of the booster. So William, can you share can I share, let's see, the screen to show the flyers? William? Okay, hitting share screen, it says the host has multiple centers, is not turned on. William, can you share the flyer? I think Leonard actually put them on the drive. Okay, I'm not sure what's happened to William.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me look.
Yeah, see if it's on. I think they were supposed to put them on the drive. I'm gonna text William too.
I don't see them.
You don't see it? Okay. Maybe we need them. Isn't allowing presenting for this webinar. Okay. Yeah, I can't share the screen. It's saying the host is not allowing to share. But we do have 2 flyers. One was one that would be a 2-sided. You can pass that out at any event that we're in. It has both. It has the donation QR code, and it also has the QR code that takes you directly to the membership site, membership page of our website. William, are you back? Okay, he says, I'm here. I text him, he says, I'm here, but.
His screen shows that he's muted.
Right.
Sandy, if you want to email them to me,
Okay.
and if they move on, when I get them, I can show them after if we move on.
Okay, all right, yeah, he's asking, why can't people share? Because you're the host. Okay, all right, I will email the flyers to Melody, and then we can pull them up, she can pull them up. I'm not sure what's next, Mr. President, but you can move on.
I'll go into
Any
bylaws. I go into bylaws and let Zach go ahead with the bylaws. And then we'll bylaws, and then I actually had put under strategic planning, but I'm looking at this. If Mr. Corker is there, I'd rather go ahead and do the Corker, and then we'll come back to the for the good of the order for yours, Reggie. Even though I know we had adopted it there under bylaws, but let's go to strategic planning, and then for the good of the order, we'll go into bylaws. So if you go ahead and bring us up to date on the bylaws, Mr. Ansley. William said we should be able to see the screen, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm trying to figure out right now. I'm not sure why things aren't working.
Okay.
You just make her the co-host temporarily.
I will do that right now. Who am I making co-host?
Was it Melody Hadley? Who was that was speaking?
She is
Sandy
Oh,
Lamar.
Sandy. Okay,
Yeah,
one
Sandy
second.
Lamar, make her the co-host temporarily.
Okay. It's not letting me do it. Okay. What? Okay, I don't know why. Let me try to fix that out. You say you're going to move to strategic plan
I'll
right
just move to Mr. Ansley right quickly, and then we'll come back to you, and if not, we'll go to strategic planning, and then we'll come back to bylaws. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Ansley. And you're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, Bylaws Committee met last Thursday. We are currently at Article 7.01, and we'll begin our next meeting at parenthesis C, and that'll give us approximately 3 or 4 more items under Article 7. After Article 7, there's Article 8, 9, and then 10. We project, or at least I project, that we should be finished with our bylaws recommended changes no later than the month of December, such that we can present them to the full board and our full body of members sometime in January for their review and acceptance or corrections. But we're trying to meet right now, as we have been since about the month of July, on Mondays at about 6 p.m. And I think that we've made some significant progress, and that's thankful to the entire body of the committee. Are there any questions?
Okay. Don't see where I'm not seeing any hands. So if you do have a question, please announce it at this time. If not, we would accept this as for information to the board. Okay. All right. Moving the agenda. At this, we will go ahead and do the strategic planning. Dwayne Corker, is he on?
Can you hear me,
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Okay. The strategic planning meeting will be November 14th. Emails will be sent to the individuals. We will be meeting with Dr. Jones and Dr. Palm, and we will have further guidance from them on the 14th, and then we will present. We will make a presentation to the board, to the board of directors after that meeting. If we have to call one before, the president will make that determination, but we will be presenting at the next board meeting.
Okay. Is there a time for that meeting yet?
I believe, let me check here. That meeting starts at 3.
3 o'clock. Okay.
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't know everyone who's on the strategic plan, but at this time we would be working with KPIs or any other performance measures that we're gonna have to come up with. So if you're on the board, or if you're a member or want to be on the board, I'm gonna ask you to make a point to contact me or contact Dwayne Corker so that you can get the login information for this meeting at 3 o'clock on November the 14th. And I believe that's Thursday, if I'm correct. All right. Yeah, I think it's the 14th. That's a Thursday at 3 o'clock. So if you want to be on the strategic planning committee, please do that. And if you want, we'll make sure that you get the pertinent information to sign on. Okay. All right. Thank you. We would accept that as for information to the board as well. Okay. Now let's have we been able to pull the website up yet?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead then, Sandy.
Okay. Okay, so can everyone see the screen?
Mhm.
Okay. And this was the flyer, it was done, it was for donation. That's something that could be passed out. It could be printed, a double-sided flyer, and it's a half of this page. So it's a 5x8 size. So it's not the full 8x10 page here that you see, but it has the information of why we give that's been taken off of one of the flyers that we have before. And then on this side, you see the this QR code. If you could take your phone out now, if you take a picture of it, will take you right to our donation page. And so that's where we want people to go. If they just want to do a donation, you don't have to visit the entire site. It takes you right to the page. You put your amount in and you follow the prompts along and you can do a donation. The second one is if you want to join the boosters. Simple, you take a picture of that one. It works on the phone, it works on the screen. It will take you straight to our membership page where you can click on regular member and then follow the prompts there to become a member of the booster. So this was something that was thought about could be passed out at anywhere a booster is. We could, if we had the baseball game, basketball games, and I'm not sure what's the, Leonard was supposed to find out who do we get permission from to pass out flyers? Because we know sometimes flyers end up on the ground, and that's something that our cleanup staff have to end up cleaning up. So he's gonna work on the permissions needed, along with, I think President Cobb, he initially sent this information to you, and you wanted to present it to the entire board. So
Right.
this is the flyer that instead of passing out a application to someone at a game or somewhere else, they can just go on and they can quickly become a member on the phone. And we can still have those applications because we know we have some of our members that like filling out things and writing a check and mailing it in, and that information is on those applications. The second one that we have would be for the Jumbotron. We wanted to try to put stuff up where we can get an announcement done, take your phones out, support our student athlete, become a booster. We have, so this one, let's see, I think it's in the Chrome. Where is it? Oh, we don't want to see this one again. Hold on, I just sent it to Melody. I'll go to the email. Make a disclaimer if you see anything here, it's not supposed to see. Do not. Okay, hold on. 1 second.
12.
Okay, so this one is basically just support student athletes, the QR code. This is to join the boosters. And the second one is to donate. And together we can enhance our student athletes' experience on the Hill. All funds go to support student happy. Your support makes it happen. It's simple, not a lot to read. Take your phones out. We'll ask people to take their phones out and take a picture to join. And once they put the website, they have it, it'll be in their browser. Even if they don't do it at that time, they still have the website information to join. Any questions, concerns, or comments?
See, AD Suggs, question, hand is up.
Yes, AD.
Thank you so much. Regarding the flyer, have you all been forwarding the flyers or any type of solicitation materials to Brittany Johnson, our Senior Associate AD for Compliance.
I think-
With it, we don't want to be on the back end, right? So if you just send it to her so that she can just review it, make sure that the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, it's buttoned up, right? That and she can even have a folder so that if something should happen, we get some questions, we can pull out that we did review it from a compliance standpoint, because NCAA changes booster engagement regulations like every other day. And so we keep up with that on this end. And I think that that would just be something good to do. And that's going to be across the board. We'll be sharing that. If there's any type of, solicitation that would take place, particularly if you're using the wording student athlete and the like, we just want to be able to dot those I's and cross those T's.
And what's her name, AD?
Brittany Johnson. I
Johnson.
can put her email address in
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
the chat.
AD Suggs, what's her title?
She's Senior Associate Athletics Director for Compliance, and she's our Senior Woman Administrator.
Thank you.
And then also, Mr. Corker, can we, after connect, so we can, just kind of engage a little bit about the committee meeting and some different things in that way as you are reporting, so that we can share what we've spoken with Dr. Palm, and also incorporate, not sure, the Board of policy for Rattler boosters adds me into some of these areas, and we just want to make sure that we're following that as well. And then lastly, Ms. Lamar, any type of ads or announcements that you want made in game, we are happy to assist in that way. So it would be us that you get those permissions from. And I am putting Rhea Floyd, who is our Director of Marketing and Special Projects, putting her email address in the chat as well. In that, say Director, Special Projects and Marketing, as she is the one that writes the game script.
Awesome. Yes, I think Leonard had an initial conversation with her, but she was so busy getting ready for homecoming that we told her we would wait until after. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is very important because this is a way that we could drive our membership. And also, football season is over, but basketball season is just beginning. So this is something that we could use on, and not only on the Jumbotron, but it's possible that we could use this at the Lawson as well. So this is something that we definitely want to move forward with.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I know that we worked with Mr. Ansley on the basket and had a table set up in front of Lawson at a couple of our games in Lawson, or one of our games in Lawson, and were able to advance tickets for the basket that went out.
And by the way, we cleared nearly $900,000 that went.
Not 900, not 900,000.
I mean, $900.
And because, and I must say, Ms. Scruggs, because of you, that one day that I was able to go to that volleyball game, we cleared over 200 of that $900. And I want to thank you for having a table out there for me and supporting me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure.
Okay. And again, all of that went to nutrition. Every dime went to nutrition. So I want to thank everybody that contributed to that. So that's good. Thank you. Anything else?
Can I make one more statement about that?
Sure.
The person that donated that basket, Miss Patricia Gavin, had suggested that she was a woman's coach when I was at Godby. she really wanted the funds to go to women's athletics. And I wanted to thank you, Mr. Cobb, for saying that we should consider doing it to the Muscle Milk program because it supports both. She was extremely ecstatic about that. And so I just thank you for mentioning that suggestion to me.
Okay, thank you. Is that it for the, is that it for for Sandy? Is that it for?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, again, thanks everybody for paying attention, and we will accept that with, for your information only. We will also look at making sure that we contact Brittany Johnson and also Ria, so that we can move this further into implementation, because it's sorely needed. Okay. Now at this time, Reggie, if there is something in particular that you want to say about the bylaw changes or what we spring elections, I think that's what it was.
This is an action item for to have spring elections in April. I'm gonna turn the yield. I've been asked to kind of chill out as I explained in my letter, so I'm going to turn it over to Tommy Mitchell to explain what I'm asking for.
Okay, Tommy.
Okay, this is a memo to Selvin Cobb, Rattler Booster President, from Reggie Mitchell, Senior Esquire General Counsel, and he copied the FAMU Rattler Booster Board of Directors. Dated November 12, 2024, Ray, Rattler Boosters Bylaws Committee letter of resignation. I don't know what time he did this, but he said good morning, so it must have been early in the morning. You may recall that the last meeting of the FAMU Rattler Boosters Bylaws Committee meeting did not go well for me in terms of decorum. Although I'm one of the greatest advocates of spirit debate, the committee chair frequently interrupted my comments on proposed amendments and personally directed comments to me having nothing to do with the merits of the debate or procedure. Subsequently, immediately following the meeting, I experienced a health episode that appeared to be directly stress-induced. As much as I love a good argument, my doctors have advised me that it is not in my best interest to have the kind of needless argument that I had that night. Consequently, without ill will, I'm hereby officially withdrawing from the membership of the FAMU Rattler Boosters Bylaw Committee. I plan to complete my last year of service as general counsel to the FAMU Rattler Boosters this fiscal year. In addition, I have attached proposed FAMU Rattler Boosters bylaw amendments that I previously drafted for the bylaws committee and the board of directors to consider. Finally, I ask that you put on the next board meeting agenda my motion to call for an April 2025 membership meeting where the election of booster officers shall take place. Since the boosters have neither held elections or had a fully noticed annual membership meeting in 7 years, I think it's time to come into compliance. Pursuant to the attached bylaws amendment, I have proposed the election of organization officers by the membership with the full justification. And the proposed booster bylaw amendment re-election of officers. Please forgive the tardiness of the following recommendation. The proposed refers to a prior section that could have been discussed during a meeting that I was unable to attend due to work or family bereavement. Election of office, of term of office. Elected officers of the corporation shall be directed for a term of 3 years by a majority vote of the then current membership of the corporation during its spring May to March meeting as outlined in section 5.02. If the election of office is not held at such meeting such election shall be held as soon as possible prior to the end of the fiscal year. Justification. The reason that it has been easy to forget the need to even have any full membership meeting and the booster membership is not as great as it can be is that there is very little, if nothing, for the membership to do. There is sure to be interest in electing board members for the 3-year term. However, like most membership organizations, the greatest interest is sure to come from the election of organization officers and the ability to express membership concerns during regular annual meeting in between 3-year election terms. This is consistent with the FAMU National Alumni Association fraternities and sororities and the vast majority of nonprofit organizations. The boosters currently follow the model of the FAMU Foundation, an organization of a small number of board expected to make significant large annual donations of $10,000. Conversely, the FAMU National Alumni Association is comprised of officers elected by membership of over 5,000 members that are the annual or one-time life membership dues, along with expected additional annual contribution. This is exactly the FAMU Boosters model, with the exception of a smaller $1,000 board membership expected annual contribution. The above recommendation will grow the National Booster membership as well as the booster endowment and annual operation budget. The current proposal was also submitted by 7, he said 10, but it was 7 booster board of directors in a prior meeting to the booster president. That's the end of the letter portion and the recommendation.
Okay, I'm going to speak on my behalf and also on those people that's on the bylaws committee. I do know that we had planned on doing an election, and we hadn't gotten to the election part yet. I think that's one of the next ones that's coming up. Is one of the things that we had planned to have it, and either it was going to be either April or May, because our fiscal year ends June 30th, and we want to make sure that the new people were already in place and given ample notice that they would be officers and ready to perform beginning July 1st. So if we can wait until after the Zach, if you can correct me, I think election is coming. That's one of those items that we're going to discuss. Is it this week or next week that we on the election committee?
Thank you, Mr. Cobb. We have been meeting, like I said, almost every week on Mondays at 6 o'clock. And I've sent out notices, and so has Mr. Yeomans, on when those meetings would take place. 5.02, we discussed several weeks ago, and the members of the bylaws committee that were present recommended this change. There shall be, let me get my glasses, please, because I don't want to misread this. It says there shall be an annual meeting in the spring, and in parentheses, it says March through May, for the purpose of electing regular members of the board of directors, committee members, and officers of the corporation whose term will begin on the first day of the next fiscal year, which would be July 1st, and for the purpose of considering any other business that may come before the board. that's just a portion of 5.02. So I understand and I agree that we had not had elections, and that was the purpose of having our retreat in June, which I think that we had, and Mr. Yeomans, Mr. Cobb, you all might be able to, but I think we only had about 9 members of the board present. But that was one of the things that was addressed in that retreat, these regular board meetings, and amending the bylaws to make sure that we have those things. So that's in our bylaws proposal, which we will conclude, like I said, in either November or December, and present to the full body and to the board of directors. So hopefully that will address this issue of about not having elections. We're going to have one in 2025 between March and May. And the reason that it was in parentheses is because we wanted to talk with the entire board of directors and get their input on it, as well as our membership. But I agree, we need to have one in the spring. April is between March and May, but we definitely need to have one in the spring if those officers and new board of directors are to take effect on July 1st. So that's one of those items that was addressed. I don't know if you want me to address any of the others.
Mr. President, for
Yes.
transparency and disclosure, we have had a general meeting. The last one was not 7 years ago. Now I'll go back through and I'll send you the date of the last one tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. But
Mr. Chair.
go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, point of clarification that when I drafted, this is a recommended proposal of paragraph 6.01. So it refers to 5.02, which the chair mentioned, and it's consistent with what we discussed in the committee. The difference is, however, is that the election of the officers should come from the membership. And so that's the greatest difference with this 6.01. And I referred it to the committee. We previously discussed the election of officers, and there was no change recommended to elect by the membership. So this is a new change recommended for the election from the membership. And so I'd be fine with referring the action item today could be refer this to the bylaws committee, but that is exactly what I intend to advocate for when all recommendations from committee are recommendations, and when it comes back to the board, I wanted everybody to be on notice that that's what I'm pushing for the justifications that I mentioned. So I'm fine with it as an action item. We refer this proposal to the bylaws committee for them to take up at the next or meeting, but they have already passed this portion. That's why it's important that it be referred back to them to take up this issue before it comes back to the membership, to the directors, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Okay, go ahead, and then I would say what I'm going to say about.
Based on the letter that Mr.
The better thing about this
Senior read, those are recommendations, and we as the bylaws committee may or may not consider those recommendations based on the fact that Mr. Mitchell Reginald has resigned from the committee. But it is now it is in the bylaws committee's hands to decide whether we will consider or reject those amendments or those recommendations.
Mr. President, I think Dwayne Clark wanted to speak. I'll wait, but I need to respond to that. Reggie, you don't need to deal with that. I'll wait until Mr. Corker speak.
Dwayne,
I'm sorry, does he want to speak? His name kept flipping. But I want to say something, but I was going to wait until after he finished. Having said nothing, let me say this.
No, I said I yield.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about, I thought Mr. Corker wanted to speak, but I want to respond to this. It is not up to the bylaws committee to involve the membership. We are charging people $100 to be members of this organization. And in any organization, the membership is not the board. The membership select the board, not the other way around. And so we have not, and I'm sorry, we have not met with the membership ever. We've had board meetings that we allow the members to attend, but we haven't had a membership meeting. Our life members and our regular members don't hear from us. As a matter of fact, our life members are concerned that they're being punished because a life member has to pay $25 to get a license plate. So we really have not ever met with them, unless I missed the meeting, and it was. When I tried to have one, AD Corker didn't want me to have it, and I was membership chair. So we just never met with the membership, and that's not up to the bylaw committee. Well, I'm sorry, it's the responsibility of them to make the changes so that the membership can participate.
I just want one more point of order, and again, I did not intend to debate. My motion, which stands, I am formally moving to refer this proposed amendment to the bylaws committee. And doing such is no longer optional of the bylaws committee to consider. It is now required. That's the purpose of a motion to refer. So that's my motion. And if there's a second, I'd like to take action on it tonight.
I second the motion.
okay, it seems like we have a motion on the floor. Whether to take this up by the bylaw committee. My concern is that for years, the Rattler Booster Board of Directors have elected officers, board of directors, and the board of directors vote on the individual officers of the board. From as long as I've been involved in it, that has always been the case. Looks like what you and Tommy, I put you in this as well, is that what you're saying is you want the total Rattler Booster Corporation to vote on the board. Am I correct in what you're saying?
Well, I wouldn't term it that way. We have we changed the way the boosters operated by having a membership committee, a membership, which meant we had a life membership and we had a regular membership, okay? And in any organization, in a nonprofit organization, the members of the organization determine their officers. That's just, in the national, membership, that's what you have. What else will members do?
That's not true.
Members select their officers, not the board select the board.
Mr. President.
Go ahead,
Mr. President, so the current, so I think you're correct. In the current bylaws and in organizations that I'm a part of, and some credit union boards that I'm a part of, and other organizations, the membership will select its board of directors. Okay, and our current bylaws do state that. In these other organizations, the board of directors, as elected by the membership, the board of directors select and elect their officers. So basically, the membership entrusts the board of directors to select its own thing, its own officers. I hear the proposal, but I'm just saying there may be some organizations, but the organizations that outside of the family Rattler Boosters and FAMU itself, that's not the practice I see in some of the credit union financial institutions that I'm a part of on the boards, including like the NAACP and other organizations like that. So, but we can talk about. I know there's a motion on the floor, but that's wanted to just mention that comment.
Let me help you understand what let me understand what you're saying.
Mr. President,
Okay, hold on, go ahead, Ron Joe, and then I'll come back to you, Tommy.
I'd like to offer a compliment to Zachary Hansley for moving this forward. And this movement with the bylaws committee is an attempt to get us where we should rightly be, so that we can function properly. But we should be able to accept these nominations and look at them without having a fight and get the bylaws correct so that we can move forward. And again, Angela has done a good job of moving us forward. There's been some hot moments there, but nonetheless, he's taken it and moved it forward. Because there's been some time, Reggie, and I think you admitted yourself that you've been pretty busy and we haven't gotten the bylaws updated. We need to get them updated. We're moving forward to get them done. We should do it without fighting. I yield.
Tommy, you want to go ahead and then
Yes.
if there's anyone else that wants to.
You know, what I'm saying is we seem to be missing the real issue here is that we have members that we don't meet with. We ask these people to pay $100. What do they do? What do we do for them? Why would they join us if we don't even meet with them? So I'm not talking about the bylaw committee. That's fine, whatever they're doing. But we're talking about this organization. We had an election in 2017, and we haven't had an election since then. That's the issue here. That we have not, and we still don't meet with our members. I can't even understand why y'all don't understand that you ask somebody to pay $100 and you don't meet with them. You don't even come. They can come into our board meetings, but we don't meet with them. What organization does that? So that's what I'm trying to understand. William, I'm trying to understand. Are you saying to me that organizations let their board members allow their boards? I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say the members select the officers. Okay, so you're saying, okay, I can understand that, but I don't understand how the members don't select officers. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. How do you? What organization don't let members select their officers?
Mr. President,
Go ahead.
I think we could fuss all night. I think we ought to move it forward to get the job done. And my memory was that some of us were elected by the board in the upper room at the Gaither building, and it was not a full meeting of the entire organization. So if that's the way we want to do it, and it's the right way to do it, we should move to get it done. And fighting over what is behind us won't get us there. I yield.
Okay, to that, I was the one that, based on the statement, I was the one that was asked to activate the boosters. And yes, we had a meeting. But in that meeting, we chose to have a membership. We chose $100 for regular members and $750 for life members. We said we organized to have members. So I still don't understand what that we're trying to dance around. We didn't select members. And we've never met with the members. We've only had board meetings for 7 years. and we can yield all we want to. The reality is we haven't met with our members. And I want somebody to contradict that. Please.
Mr. President.
Seven, my hand is up.
Hey,
I
okay.
know that we have had 2 membership meetings.
Yes,
And it hasn't been, we have had 2. Now tomorrow, right now, I'm kind of tired. I'll go back and send the board, the minutes from those 2 membership meetings, but I know we've had at least 2.
Okay, I yield. We've had 2 membership meetings in 7 years. Okay, I'll accept it.
And I'm like Colonel Joe, and I think we need to move forward. It's 20 minutes to 9.
Yes,
So
right.
we'll do whatever is necessary to.
But what about the motion on the floor?
Can we call the question on the motion on the floor?
Okay.
I have a question before we call a question. Since the question is being called by a former member of the Board of Bylaws, by the Booster Bylaws Committee, are you calling that question as a bylaws former member, or are you calling
What former members? He hasn't resigned yet.
According to the letter that you read,
he resigned.
That I
point of order. Can I make a point of order? Just a point of clarification. I resigned from the committee. I have not resigned as a board of directors.
And that's not
right.
And
So,
trying to finish my statement.
Yeah.
Okay. I asked, the resignation was as a bylaws member, you're resigning from the board of the bylaws, from the committee.
From the committee.
All right. So now, the bylaws committee has not yet talked to the entire board about the bylaws changes. So I just want you to understand my question. Why is it even tonight when we're talking about a board member making a motion on the bylaws changes that the board has not even received?
He's making a motion to recommend to the board.
I want you to
point of clarification. The whole purpose of my motion to refer it to a committee, your committee, is to avoid, if I may, without interruption, I'm moving to refer it to the committee to avoid exactly what we're doing. We're debating the issue now when I'm saying affirmatively refer it to your committee. So that removes the possibility of what you suggested you may or may not consider it. I'm saying the committee must consider this. And when the committee considers this, you will notice that committee and the public at large can attend that committee, and members at large and board of director members, even not on the committee, may appear at that committee just on this issue. And then once your committee has finished the entirety of its work for a package to recommend, all committees recommend to the board. So it's coming back to the board anyway. Mm-hmm. So instead of dealing with it now and arguing for the hour that you normally do on a regular committee meeting, I'm saying refer it to your committee. The purpose of the committee is to vet the issue. And once you vetted the issue with public comment, then when it comes back, I've already made notice that I'm in favor of this change. And so we can eliminate a lot of the back and forth that we're going through now to formally refer it to the committee, because I did present it to the committee, but it was not discussed. And so I'm formalizing the presentment to the committee must discuss it. And then by the time the entire package gets back, there'll be a recommendation as to what we should do about that particular and all other issues.
Okay, let me just make a comment on that. I've been at every committee meeting that we've had. This is the first time you're saying you had referred it to the committee. This is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Don't respond.
Yeah, the emails last forever.
Reggie,
so
let it go.
Again, Mr. Chair, the purpose of calling the question is to avoid this debate. And just like my doctor says, I don't need to go back and forth debating on something let's call the question. And for those in favor of the motion, vote yes, and those opposed to the motion, vote no.
At this time, I will call for the board members, Addie, if you could go back to the board for those that's here. And take a roll call vote that we decide whether we're going to refer this back to the bylaw committee or that we should continue with the current situation that we have now.
Okay, so you're calling for individual votes?
Individual votes of the directors that's here.
They made the vote. I don't know. We didn't even vote. I call you, but me neither. Okay. I'll first your vote.
So there are 26 members online, so.
Okay.
What are we?
Was there somebody else getting ready to say something?
Yeah, could you repeat that so we can be clear? 'Cause I gotta admit, I'm a little confused myself. And I guess we might need to, check with the parliamentarian. I don't know, but could you repeat what you would like for us to do?
What is the motion?
Ms. Alexander, he's asking for a roll call vote of all the individuals who are on the board that are present tonight.
On the motion.
What is the motion?
Okay. I will read it again. I ask that you put on the next board meeting agenda my motion.
Wait a minute, Tommy.
Call for an April.
Offense, Tommy.
I'm reading the motion. I read the motion.
So let Reginald make the motion because he made the
No.
motion.
I was allowed to read this.
No, but you didn't make the motion.
I will make it then.
Okay, wait, Tommy.
Point of clarification.
Yeah,
Zach, point of clarification.
Reggie, stop talking. Reggie, don't, Reggie. You're not supposed to do this.
Wait.
Don't let this guy get you into debating.
That's
I was allowed to read the motion.
Hey, gentlemen, I'm going to say this, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. We are grown men and women in this meeting, but we're conducting ourselves like children, not professional people who love FAMU. We've got to stop this. This is something that's consistently happening among grown people who can't put their egos aside for the university. So let's conduct ourselves in a professional manner, treat each other professionally, whether you agree or disagree. But this is a booster professional organization. Conduct ourselves as such.
That being said, the motion.
Mr. President, I read the emotion. My son, I don't need my son arguing with this guy or anybody, arguing with anybody when his doctors tell him not to. That's why I was allowed to read. That's why I'm reading the motion. That's the only reason. And what's the problem with me reading the motion that I read before?
Because you also seconded the motion. You cannot read a motion and second it, Tommy.
I can read a motion on behalf of someone else.
Let me just say this. You can't read, Tommy. If you read the motion, that's not making a motion. Reggie made the motion and then had to ask who seconded it, and you said you seconded it.
Yeah.
So if Reggie made the motion.
We heard that. Now let me respond to that. I was allowed to read I'm representing Reggie reading. Reggie is reading. He doesn't need to be going through this. That's why I'm making him stop. I'm just asking him to stop. Okay, I was allowed to read it for Reggie. And that was Reggie making the motion, and I second. Now, okay, here's what let somebody else read it. I just don't want Reggie read it. Let somebody else read it then, and I still will second the motion.
Tommy, the question was raised.
I don't need to hear from you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
Okay, Tommy.
Mr. President, if you agree with that, let somebody else read it.
We don't need to go back and read the motion. I guess.
Yes, they did because they didn't know what the motion was. That's the only reason I was reading it.
That's why I guess that's one of the reasons why I guess everyone is confused. Just as our secretary is that what are we voting on? We are voting to have the motion move back to the bylaw committee. And at that time, the bylaw committee will have a discussion of whatever that they decide to do. And then they would report it with the bylaw committee report. That's what we're
Good.
asking them to do.
Good, good.
That's your interpretation of what was read. Why not
Well,
let it be read?
But I
again,
think
go ahead,
everybody
go
understands
ahead.
the
I mean,
motion.
go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Does everyone understand what the motion is?
Apparently
Yeah.
they didn't. That's
Mr.
why they
President.
asked me to, that's
We
why they
do
asked.
now.
Mr.
Wait a minute,
President.
can we at least be courteous to each other?
Okay,
We sound like
just hold on for
elementary
a
school
minute here.
kids arguing.
Mr.
Please,
President.
let's be courteous to each other.
Mr.
This is out of
President.
control.
Mr. President, there's a motion on the floor and our secretary should have took that. So Madam Secretary, that's just a request, Mr. President, if you can ask Madam Secretary to state the motion that we are currently up under.
Okay.
That's
ready?
why I asked for clarification of what we were doing, we were voting on. So, and all I just got, from what I understand, the motion is to move Regis Thomas' motion back to the bylaws committee.
Reggie's motion.
Okay, I think it was not necessarily a motion, it was he gave some recommendation to the
Yeah,
bylaws
proposal.
committee. And he would
Mhm.
like for the bylaws committee to take up those recommendations. And he wants a motion from the board so that they would have to take it up. It's not there at their whim to say, no, we're not going to consider this. So that's what this is about. So somebody, let's get the vote on.
Right.
Okay, so the motion, all right, so the motion is to move the recommendations back to the bylaws committee.
Yes.
Yes,
All right,
that's the recommendation.
okay. And the recommendation is by Reggie or Tommy?
Reggie.
Reginald Mitchell made the recommendation. It was seconded by Mr. Thomas Mitchell. Now let's vote. Roll call.
Okay, roll call. Selvin Cobb,
Yes.
Hattie Alexander, yes. Bill Woods is absent. Zachary Ansley. Jenny Burry. Jenny Burry. Lloyd Cobb. Dwayne Corker.
No.
Leonard is absent. Ulysses Glee.
Yes.
Caleb is absent. Johnny Hankerson. Johnny Hankerson.
I messed up.
Johnny Hankerson. Okay, Ronald Joe. If you don't respond, I guess that's a abstain.
Miss Hattie?
Yes.
Abstain.
It could be yes, not no. Move it.
I'm sorry. What are you saying,
This is
Zach?
Zachary Ansley. I wanted to go back to the committee. I'm sorry. So my
Okay.
vote is not no, my vote is yes. Let's go back to the committee.
Okay, let's see, Johnny Hankerson, I guess that's an absence. Ronald Joe.
Could you hear me?
No, I can't. Ronald Joe.
Abstain.
Okay. Wilbert Johnson. Sandra Lamar.
Yes.
Reggie Mitchell.
Yes.
Tommy Mitchell. Let's see.
Oh,
Leela Walker.
yes.
Gary Watson.
Abstain.
Benita Williams.
Yes.
William Yeoman. Flora Woodfall.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. President, the yes has it.
Okay, all right. Now, the recommendation is to go back to the committee, and the committee will vote yay or nay. That's my understanding of the.
Okay, dokie, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Took a long time to get there, but we made
Move,
it.
let's move the agenda.
Okay,
Almost.
all right. For the good of the order.
President Carr,
I did have
Yes.
Mr. Gary Watson, I have something to say, and whether it's good of the order or not, if I was somebody who wanted to be a part of the boosters, and I've said this before, there's nowhere in the world I would want to join an organization that I saw people who say they love FAMU conduct themselves tonight in this meeting. I feel that that's a disgrace to the boosters, to the people who are here listening to that we can't put our egos aside for the betterment of Florida A&M University. It's really embarrassing to hear this type of conversation among people who claim they love the school, but you can't get along in meetings. And this is not the first meeting that this has happened. It's consistently happening. And I say this, what I saw tonight, I personally am resigning from the executive board of the boosters because this is an embarrassment to me. It's an embarrassment to everybody who's listening, how we just conducted ourselves. And I, for one, will not continue to be a part of anything where we cannot be civil and disagree and respect each other. We couldn't even respect each other tonight. But we love the school, but you don't respect each other. We've got to respect each other. And I think that decorum is not there because we let our egos and our, whatever we want to call it, our pride, and everybody wants to be the big dog in all of this. And we're not doing what we need to do for the student athlete. We can't do for the student athletes if we can't get along. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. And I think that we need to change our attitudes about how we respect each other, whether we agree or disagree. But we still need to be cordial to each other because we see each other everywhere all the time. We're working for the same cause. But if I'm one person who's listening to this tonight, there's nowhere in the world I'd say I want to be a part of this organization. And me personally right now, I'm resigning as effective right now because I can no longer accept this. So I wish the best of luck, and I will still do what I can for the Rattler Boosters, but I no longer want to be a part of any executive board that conducts itself, and we cannot treat our own executive board members and board members with respect and dignity when we disagree. Because what happened tonight, and people listening to this, you're going to force people to make changes for us that you don't want to happen. Because we cannot agree to be civil and disagree and do the things to forward the boosters and our student athletes. And that is all that I have to say. And God bless you all. Y'all have a good night. And I enjoyed serving and meeting and working with you all over these last 8-9 years. And hope we can move forward. Good night.
Gary, can I say something for the good of the order, Gary? I agree with you 100%.
I got to go.
That, if I may, I agree 100% that this organization and every DSO needs to insist on rules of decorum, right? Zach and I, we're probably alike, right? Except I think it's important that we not interrupt each other. We can disagree with each other, and that's fine. That's my profession, right? I'm a professional disagreeer. Just for health reasons, I get to the point where I can't continue on the committee because, as you saw tonight, was Exhibit A. There were people interrupting speakers inappropriately. One of the things I recommended to the committee is the institution of an office of sergeant at arms to prevent just what happened tonight and what happens on the committees. We have to stop interrupting people unless it's a legitimate point of order that's necessary to interrupt a speaker. Otherwise, when you disagree with someone, you can wait for them to finish and then respectfully, always civilly disagree and state your point, right? And we're all capable of doing that, but we have been lacking in decorum. And that's my only reason for giving up on the committee, right? I've served on bylaws committees all my life, and they're important. And the boosters isn't too important to fail, and we need to support my Tallahassee leadership sister, Angela Suggs. We need a strong, vital boosters. So failure is not an option, but we do have to be better, right? And so, I think y'all should talk to Gary Watson and assure him that we can agree without being disagreeable. But tonight was Exhibit A of why I just couldn't serve on the committee. There's no excuse for interrupting people in the middle of their speeches and doing simple things like just agreeing to talk. A motion to refer is an agreement to talk. And so we have to do better. And I have no ill will towards any single person or everyone on this board, but for the betterment of my health, I just couldn't continue because what you saw tonight is what I experienced. And when you feel disrespected, it might fester at my age, right? So God bless all of you, right? I truly and sincerely hope y'all can get it together. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine too. I still love every one of you. So you probably won't see me on a lot of more meetings, but I just do think what I submitted for the reasons that I put in my written justification, it's important that we move forward as a larger organization and not a board of 20 people making small decisions and arguing with each other. And with that, I yield.
President, it is now 9 o'clock. There are two hands. If you could give each speaker 1 minute so we can wrap this up.
Each person got 1 minute, beginning at this point. Who's next coming up?
It was William. No, I just had this is William Human. So kickoff luncheon, Mr. President. I know you said that there was 7 tables. Is there any availability? Are all those tables sold out, or is there an opportunity for Rattlers to purchase a seat at any of those 7 tables, or is it just no longer available?
To my knowledge, all the 7 people have already paid their monies.
Okay.
And the only thing is that there are several people who have
No
like
problem.
4 and 5 other people. They may have not gotten all the monies yet. I haven't seen the monies.
No problem.
yet.
So okay,
As of now, they all.
I'm hearing it's sold out.
Okay. All
And
right.
then the other comment is just for the board. And I've heard some things, not just the recent thing, but I will share with the board a few things just so that we are aware of the board of trustee policies as given to the board of directors, actually given to each DSO, but I'll plan to share that, particularly the university athletic booster policy. There's a couple of things like section 1 that we definitely need to be adhering to and compliant to. So offline, I'll definitely share that. I just want to just mention that, Mr. President. Now, before I send that out, I'll provide that to you for your agreements.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The next person. Who is second?
Zach Ansley.
Zach, you got 1 minute.
I didn't want to have this discussion, had never thought that we would have this in the board meeting. And I'm disappointed, just like Reginald was disappointed. And also, I can't remember who the other guy was. I didn't want to be in this position. I did not. And it is troubling for me when we have disagreements and we can't come to resolutions without either one of us and any of us trying to take the higher road without pointing fingers at one another. And I yield.
Okay. Okay, being that was the last comment, for the good of the order, I think that we have discussed quite a bit of business meeting here this evening. AD Sykes, I don't know if you have anything else to
Not
say.
Sykes.
I'm sorry, AD Suggs. I'm sorry. I got your picture in my mind.
Got it.
Okay, I see you on the
You know,
screen.
now he is over 5 years old. So,
But you know that the executive, as the AD of this university, you are in charge of the Rather Boosters. Heard a lot tonight. Don't know if you got anything to say, but I just like to close it with whatever you have to say.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I think there's opportunity, and I will definitely reach out to Gary as well. I know that the love is here for the institution, for the student athletes, for the boosters. I actually was at that meeting where these officers were elected in 2017. And so I was there. I think that there's opportunity for, as Mr. Corker is looking at the strategic planning, that there's an opportunity for us to align that with the BOT policy, particularly down in section 6, where it says that together we come up with some administrative, I guess, an administrative strategy or administrative plan is actually what the policy says in terms of how we're going to activate. And so there's opportunity there. And as we move forward, I look forward to working with you all, but want to just make sure that all of the different governing documents are aligned and that the bylaws as it relates to the strategic plan, as it relates to the BOT policy and how that applies, we can get together and move forward there. And so again, I look forward to getting that done. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, I'm not going to ask for an adjournment, but we're going to say good night.
Good night.
good
Good night,
night.
everybody.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
There you go. You can hear me now. So as promised, I did say I was going to do your next booster meeting. It was what it was, man. Yeah. I got nothing on that one, man. That was unscripted. Normally I got a script here, so I'm always like looking like this, looking this way, looking that way. But today, no script, just purely whatever you heard was real. So looking forward to seeing some things, what comes to fruition, what comes out of that. We did some good things, though. I guess if we were going to kind of hit the highlights, I guess my biggest highlight, and I guess my biggest, I'm gonna steal this from fellow Rattler, Grows Glows. I'm definitely referencing you. Yeah, Miss Gage, definitely referencing you. But I think one of the things you definitely got the conversation started about the facilities, namely the field house. If we're going to, again, keep things really focused on athletics, less about some of the other stuff. So you got some answers about that. AD Suggs stated that she does intend to get some things going with that. And also, big thing you also saw where even in the disagreements and the what appeared to be dysfunction, it was you kept hearing the word pride, passion, and you also saw the other side of Rattler Boosters is that they continuously give everything they have back to the athletics program. That's probably part of why you're seeing such disagreements, because when you're giving that much to something and you're that passionate about it, stuff's gonna happen. So, all right, y'all. Not what I came for. I just came to really just be back of house, and my wife is ready to go to bed. So, I'm gonna acquiesce to her will, because I'm trying to be a good husband. But that was a Rattler Booster call. Hopefully we get the next one on here. Look, I don't know, man. We'll see. But try to have everything operate in sunshine, and see y'all here Thursday on HBCU Digital Network. We're gonna have an episode of Fangs Up here tomorrow. Catch ONG Strike Zone, and don't forget to get that. You might need that vodka tonight after that meeting. Fang Exchange, they got the vodka, they got the drinks for you. So y'all already know what's up. So I was gonna be Fangs Up, and hopefully next booster meeting will be a little more, we got y'all right where we need to be. But yeah, look, y'all can tell one thing: we love FAMU. All right, y'all. Good night. See y'all on Thursday.
Yeah, baby, you know what time it is. Now let's get it started. Are you kidding me? Unreal!
While our HBCUs are mostly known for academic rigor, community, they also know how to turn up.
Does he have it?